Hello and welcome to Rauta's Duel Reviews. This is the format which makes absolutely very little sense, but since there's only so many videos I can spam you with reviews and all that stuff, we have to sometimes put more than one released in one video. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our two Saturnal Records bands which are about to get reviewed here. First of all, we have Burial Shrine from Canada and All My Sins from Serbia. I should know what you're thinking, and you might be kind of surprised what's it gonna be. So let's start with Burial Shrine, which I just happened to listen to at first, so it's gonna be first in order. Burial Shrine is from Canada, playing black metal. A few years old, but this is their first album, so not one of the most active ones out there. This is how the CD looks like. As you can see, pretty kind of a basic, if you can call it that. Some ominous words, upside down cross and all that stuff. You know how the drill is. On the back side we obviously have track list, and as if you didn't spot, this is Labyrinth of Bridges. I was starting to think, what the hell is Labyrinth of Bridges? I mean, usually Labyrinth is a building that is just, lots of walls and ceilings and, these corridors which are hard to navigate. But when it's filled with bridges, well, not a typical black metal album name anyway. And if you get bored of my babble, you can always down thumb me and say that I have so stupid reviews. That's all totally fine with me. Now that we have taken a look of this booklet and the CD, it's time to talk about the music. So Burial Shrine is one of those Canadian fast tempo black metal bands. Very aggressive, very much straight in your face and all that. Violence, blood, gore, stuff like that. Well, in a way, metaphorically speaking. This might remind you of bands which are labeled under war metal. Well, that's partially true, except this one does not have those death metal elements, at least not very much. The vocals are somewhere between shrieking and growling, sure, but that's pretty much the only thing that actually reminds me of these typical war metal bands. But the rest, well, it's kind of a revenge-ish way of, creating very fast, very messy, very chaotic, even blurry kind of black metal. Kind of in your face, but there's two major problems with this particular album. First of all, riff-wise, it's not very good. In fact, I wouldn't call it good in the first place. And the thing is this, the riffs are all kind of a very basic, the kind of stuff that are supposed to be on a demo recording. You're gonna like the phase where you're figuring out what's the music gonna sound. You probably release it just, pester your friends and kind of be able to listen to yourself as an outsider what kind of music you're creating. But this band actually, or at least it was said in the promotional info piece, that they had plans to do a demo but abandoned those plans. Why the hell not, I might ask. And I wouldn't be asking if this CD was good, but it's not. It's really, really mediocre in so many ways, but it's also kind of annoying to the production of the album. Now, I am kind of a lo-fi fan. If you have ever before been listening to my videos about, how I worship some of the more primitive and raw black metal bands, you know that production is usually not the key thing for me to like a CD. For example, Yarn's Material, or kind of like a Hate Forest, and those kind of bands, Hot, many others, which are really primitive or low-fi albums. Even this Sort Vokter, the Yarn side project, very raw, very unpolished, very crappy in a way production, and I still just worship some of those albums. And Iljan, for example, is one of my favorite black metal bands from Norway, and it has nothing to do with being crappy sounding. But Burial Shrine is not one of those bands that actually uses this raw and primitive sound in their kind of a use, in a sense that it makes their music more violent or better or anything. to me it sounds like they're just, covering the tracks, being really mediocre with the sound, riffs and all that stuff. Now, the thing is, the overall output is really, really messy. And like I said, I wouldn't mind if that would actually make sense, but it does not. It actually bothers me that one of the faster parts, which are mostly dominating on this album, if they were just, more kind of clear, if you could make more sense out of that stuff, it would be good. But it's not. It's like Blasphemy's live recordings when you just kind of basically have to remember the riffs in order to make any sense out of those songs. It's just like as if this band is totally like drowning itself in this poor production. Like, this is only my opinion. You might be upset because what I'm saying here, and I'm not like gonna call it this a really bad album, but I think it's totally losing all its potential because of this production and these riffs, which are not very good. However, the last track, which is just too lengthy, being 15 minutes with this kind of genre boom, well, it's a little bit better because it's of this slow pace. It's kind of a doom even if the production is kind of a black metalish. But to me, it kind of bothers that this is something that should have been a demo, not a full-length album. Kind of blows my mind why Saturnal Records actually decided to go with this, but hey, I'm not the label boss, so what do I know? However, the Serbian band is totally different breed. All My Sins might be one of the crappiest names for a black metal band of all time. To me, it's kind of reminds me of kind of a poor gothic band from the 90s, but this ain't no gothic stuff. This is actually black metal from Serbia. And look at these funny furry costumes. This is like, I don't know, some B-class fantasy movie or maybe some poor Star Wars setup from The Empire Strikes Back. But if you can't go beyond this weird or stupid name and these funny looking outfits, well, you're guaranteed for some nice ride here. Well, to put it short, if you know Polish band MGLA, that is MGLA, well, that is kind of very known for its really atmospheric, kind of a beautiful, almost melancholic black metal with its kind of a unique, one-of-a-kind type of feeling. This is very goddamn close to it, but not a copycat. There are lots of similarities between these two bands, but still somewhat different also. At first, I was like, this All My Sins album, it is just, oh, by the way, Sila, Vukov, Totem is the name of the album. I don't know whatever it means, Totem something. Well, like I was saying, at first I was like, this is pretty okay, but not that great, but when I just listened to more and more of this album, I started to kind of fall in love with it because, well, to be honest, these songs, even though they are kind of lengthy, which I so often kind of disrespect because not most songwriters can do very good lengthy songs that is of 8 or 10 minutes or more, but this band kind of manages to, hold the kind of level of quality pretty much the same way Anwar is doing. And I cannot say except that this is one great album. And on the contrary to the Burial Shrine, this is actually very strong production. That doesn't mean like overproducing an album, being extra clean and all that stuff. But you can actually hear bass doing its own stuff. Drums are really powerful and supporting what the guitars and bass are doing. Vocals are nice and raspy, not too far or anything, but just, very balanced. And guitars are strong, yet kind of still more raw versus kind of a mainstream, good and clean and all that stuff. Now, to me, it sounds very well-balanced album. An album that is really easy to enjoy, which kind of, I don't know, complements the fall, the falling leaves and trees turning to orange and brown and yellow and all that stuff, even red. So it kind of fits this mood, when the at least this Western Hemisphere, I don't know, we're going closer to, or Northern Hemisphere, how the hell I'm gonna say that? But anyway, we're going closer to winter times. We're getting colder. We're seeing those dead leaves and all that stuff. So this kind of a melancholic feeling actually is giving me the kind of a feeling that this could be the soundtrack of a fall. This is like an opposite, to the albums which are just aggressive and in your face, you know, kicking your head off with the brutality. For example, D-side is kind of different than this one. They both are good albums and bands, but this is just, you know, more on the melancholic and atmospheric side. So what can I say? Really, really nice album, kind of a war, but also filled with melancholic atmosphere. So this one is definitely a good album. And if we conclude this the way Duel reviews are done by me, let me just fix this CD. It's like, hey, I'm a Canadian douchebag. I'm gonna kick your butt. No, wait, we come from Serbia. Oh, so what? Ah! And the Canadian falls to the pit of great death while all my sins. We have these nice furry things, outfits, costumes, and we have power with our melancholic black metal. So go check it out. Don't listen to me blather. You will find links below. So do whatever with that information you're gonna do. All my sins, nice burial shrine, blah. See ya.